Since the dawn of Counter-Strike, the game has revolved around two guns, the AK-47 and the M4A4. But just a little while ago, for a few crazy months, that all changed.
One of them, and they're gonna line up. Oh my god, the AUG, it comes through beautifully, triple for him, and he's gonna close it out.
The AUG meta helped Finnish hopefuls become superstars and brought down veteran players who failed to adapt.
It's done in two. However, the spray down from Zaiwu, 3 kills in the yard, the bombs drop, there's no smokes on the cross.
And all it took was one tiny price cut. How is it possible that a gun with so much potential went overlooked for so long?
Sui, oh, Subbit, she's got 2 more.
Simply put, the AUG was a buried treasure, hidden in plain sight.
That AUG nearly got 2. Sui behind the door. Actually didn't take much wear for it, but they do line up that time. And the AUG is coming out with a POG.
The official description for the AUG says that it's powerful and accurate, and also says that it compensates for its long reload times with a low spread and a high rate of fire. So it makes sense that the AUG is often found in the hands of new or more casual CSGO players.
Where the rate of the fire on the AUG when you had it zoomed in was unbelievably high, and the pattern was even just like a column. So anybody could, offset that.
If you're in it to spray and pray, well, the combination of a high rate of fire and high accuracy makes the AUG a great choice. Basically, even a mediocre player can, in theory, frag out with the AUG in their hands. And back in February 2014, Valve put that theory to the test. They buffed the gun's scoped control, improving its accuracy and decreasing its recoil, which in turn led to AUG Week.
He's hacking.
What's good, AUG life?
After 7 days of God mode tyranny, Valve brought the AUG back down to earth.
The real nerf to the AUG is there's no counter to these changes. You can't adapt to inaccuracy spread, and you can't shoot faster than the game allows. With one patch, Valve has changed the identity of the weapon.
But even after the nerfs, it remained a pretty good option for CTs. Its amazing scoped accuracy made it great at hitting mid to long range targets. The issue was that no one was taking that option. At the highest level, players just weren't buying AUGs. Why not? Well, it came down to the gun's reputation.
Меня бесит это оружие, я просто не люблю, что какой-то лишний зум в игре появился, это не украшает ее, более какая-то на Call of Duty становится похожа.
The AUG has many nicknames. It's been called the noob gun, the COD gun, the training wheels gun.
Are high recoil guns too hard for you? Did you come from Call of Duty? Then fear not, the COD gun is for you.
Any self-respecting CSGO player left the AUG in the shop where it belonged and bought something that they considered to be a little bit more skill-intensive.
The reason why this gun's kind of stupid, in my opinion, is you can shoot like 10 shots. 10 shots is more than enough to kill somebody. With like perfect, almost perfect accuracy, not even thinking about it, you just pull straight down.
No matter how long you've played CS, you gravitate towards two guns, the AK-47 on T side and the M4A4 on CT side. Whether you're a pro or an amateur, that's all you buy.
Maybe I'm not stressing this enough. Counter-Strike has been AKs and M4s for over 15 years.
It's been that way forever, and the AUG has never been a part of the meta.
It's just never really been a thing in CS, CS Source, 1.6, even like the first 6-7 years of CSGO.
Now, there are a couple reasons for that, beyond the whole it's a gun for babies reputation.
Oh, using the AUG as a crutch. Oh, I'm only at my rank because my team is bad. Yep, keep telling yourself that.
The AUG has a 3.8 second reload time, which doesn't matter that much if you're a pro, but could come up in your ranked games. More importantly though, was the $3,300 price tag. Now, that's only $200 more than the M4, but it was enough to scare a lot of people away from buying an AUG. With so few people buying AUGs, most players, pros included, just didn't know how to use it to its full capacity, and many didn't bother learning how.
I tried to play with it, and I'm terrible with it, so I won't play with it no more. I'm just gonna play with M4 again.
But some people did put in the effort. During the ESL One Cologne 2014 quarterfinals, Cloud9 pulled out the AUG against Ninjas in Pajamas, surprising everyone.
There's an AUG on Sean Guess, and he's making it work. Very unusual rifle to be picked up here in competitive play, but at this range, maybe it's worked. Maybe he's figured something out about this map. It's going to be a quick triple. They will get the bomb plant down once again, so NIP doing a fine job. Freiburg takes down Sean Guess.
But surprising no one, the ballsy play didn't work out for the American team. After that high-profile failure, the AUG went back to gathering dust in the background for years. That is, until October 9th, 2018, when the price of the rifle dropped to a slightly more affordable $3,150.
That's $50 more than the M4s, but I still do think that we're going to see more AUG usage going forward, if only for the situations where the scope is going to be really beneficial.
With a few exceptions, people were slow to react. Most of the community was more concerned with the changes to loss bonuses and how that would affect the game's economy.
Everybody and their mother released a YouTube video or wrote a big diatribe on Reddit about how it's either the best thing ever or the worst thing ever for CSGO.
But that was just the calm before the storm. A few months later, everyone realized what had happened, and the AUG was all anyone could talk about.
Alright, maybe I should have been using the AUG all along, chat. Maybe you guys are right.
While the rifle was nowhere to be found in 2018, it skyrocketed in usage in 2019, accounting for 18.1% of all kills in professional CSGO matches by March. That's almost as much as the AWP and the M4 were responsible for at the time combined. Suddenly, the AUG was the best weapon that CTs had access to, and many teams started buying them in pro matches. But not everyone was on board. Teams made up of veteran players like FaZe Clan still thought the AUG wasn't legit and actively avoided buying the gun. As far as FaZe, and particularly Nico, was concerned, the AUG was a crutch for bad players, and they were never going to use a weapon so beneath their skill level. But other teams were ready to adapt, and the AUG was their ticket to the top.
7, we're going to be one round apart. This is absolutely ENCE coming back into this game. FaZe is lost.
ENCE literally went from a meme to major grand finalists in Katowice.
The Kings of Katowice! They're through!
And one could argue that their willingness to give the AUG a chance is what helped ENCE bring down the competition. But they weren't the only ones. Other teams were all over the AUG too.
Oh, the timing. He catches 2 players, maybe even 3, but he jumps. It doesn't matter, midair.
Compared to the M4, the AUG has higher armor penetration, less spread, and a versatile scope. But it always had those things. The only thing that changed about it was the price. Once people finally bought the damn thing, they realized it was so good that it threw off the entire equilibrium of the game.
It's kind of stupid. Like, there's no, like, it's just so good in every way. It needs to be balanced in some way.
Which of course meant that many pros started calling for an increase in price.
We just need to raise the price.
I think the price should be a bit higher.
I think the AUG should be price changed back to its original price.
And on March 13th, they got their wish. After letting the community get a taste of what the gun could offer, Valve bumped the AUG's price right back up to $3,300.
I think this is an experiment just to see how many of us will still play with the AUG. I'm also very curious to see if most pros will go back to the M4 with this change.
But the higher price didn't really deter anyone from buying it. In fact, some pros thought it needed to be even more expensive, or at least give it some nerfs to bring it in line with other rifles. Finally, on June 18th, Valve nerfed the gun again, giving it a slightly lower rate of fire and less accuracy. And no one was happier than Nico, who still insisted that the AUG was a low-skill weapon. But not everyone shared his enthusiasm for the nerfs. So did these changes really kill the AUG? In the last few months, the gun has fallen off pretty hard, but you have to remember that before 2019, it wasn't being purchased in pro play at all. So sure, it's down to a 3.2% pick rate on a LAN, but that's a lot better than 0. And yet, for a while there, it presented a real, viable alternative to the M4, something no one thought would ever be possible, which is a pretty big achievement for the largely ignored noob gun.
These deagles could certainly do some damage. Oh, it's a shooting gallery for Zywu on top of the container.
Oh my god, Zywu! It's about to get it in. Oh my god, he's done it. That is incredible.
Of course, the two guns aren't mutually exclusive. They can coexist peacefully, allowing players to experience a more diverse meta depending on their style of play. So now the question is, will we witness the second coming of the AUG? For the better part of 2 decades, Counter-Strike has been about the epic clash between the AK and the M4. But now, Valve has shown a willingness to shake that up. So who's to say that some other ignored gun won't suddenly take the CS world by storm? For example, the future looks bright for the SG553, the terrorist's answer to the AUG. It got a price cut on the same day as its CT counterpart, and it's been gaining momentum ever since.
It comes with great risk. Is it worth it at a point where you are 2 rounds away from victory? Well, maybe it doesn't matter. Mayan showing his prowess. The taps with the Krieg. He's looking for one of the most brutal aces that we've seen in recent memory. That looked so easy, 20 for 16.
It has a scope, better spread, better recoil, even better armor penetration than the AK.
It may sound crazy, but I think that this might actually be the change that teams should make so they could actually figure out a way to counter AUGs.
And as for the AUG, even though it's no longer as affordable or popular as it once was, it's by no means a write-off.
Have a look at this, because this is going to be some fine shooting. Rotated across to under balcony and just an absolute turret.
The AUG's moment in the sun showed us how some players are too stubborn to change, that the old ways aren't necessarily always the best, and how that can lead to some incredible falls from grace. Meanwhile, it showed us how young, hungry players can adapt faster and take a so-called scrub gun to the top. The AUG's journey from underused low-skill weapon to CS mainstay is an eye-opening example of how a little creativity can go a long way. Because at the end of the day, the AUG was beautiful the whole time. I definitely did, because someone was calling me. Hello? You do. No worries. Bye. It's the wrong number. You heard. Yeah, you heard that. You heard that. Oh man, this should definitely be. Who do you think it was?